Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to the first live stream Tuesday of 2021. Welcome everybody in the live chat room. Let me get you guys up on screen immediately, because in there we have Terry, Stan, Vince, Lethea, Paula, Corey, Amy, Jennifer, Donna, and Great Iron Fist, and Billy, and Debbie, and Lisa, and Stan again, Jeannie, Susan and Dennis are in the house as well, Shawnee and Carla is in there moderating as well. So hello guys, and thank you for joining me on the first live stream on the Tuesday of 2021. And just to mention as well that when the live stream kicked in, I think it took about 20 or so seconds to then go live. I don't know why that was, but it's just going to be a little bit of black at the beginning where there's nothing on screen, and then it all kicks off from there on. So maybe YouTube will cut that on, or cut that off on the processed version of the live stream, and it will go a little bit better for that version of it. But anyway, we will keep on going. Hopefully I've set this all up correctly. We always are a bit random on these live streams, and we'll see if it all goes well or if it all goes wrong. But let's get my patrons' names up on screen, because they make this all possible in the first place. And this is what always happens on these live streams. If you haven't seen one before, hello and welcome to this live stream that happens on a Tuesday, but also on a Saturday night. We're going to be having a pick roulette later on, and it's pretty much a regular thing now. We seem to be hitting the targets quite consistently, but we'll see if we can do that again tonight. And it all just is to do with the amount of likes that we get. So if we can hit that thumbs up as we come through the door, that would be much appreciated. Let me get the live like counter up on screen. It is a little bit wonky, but it doesn't matter because we can just about see that it's 92. So I don't know whether we can reach 100. It's already at an impressive level already, so thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up so early on. I'm just going to try and move this box so that it's a little bit more centralized. That's a little bit better. I might tweak it a little bit later on in the live stream, or I'm going to try and do it now to get it even more centralized. That's too much. This is the OCD coming in. There we go. That's fine. Actually, when it jumped over to 103, because it's now 100, it centralized it a bit more. So thank you for hitting all of those thumbs up, and we can have an early spike of the likes. There's only 3 minutes past the hour here, midnight in the UK, and let's give an early plug of the mug. If you want to get your hands on one of these, you can do in the tray underneath this video and the videos on the channel in general, but also head over to teespring.com, type in Wings of Pegasus, and you'll be able to find all of the merchandise there. We are going to be looking at some pictures later on as well that have been uploaded to the Wings of Pegasus supporters group page over on Facebook, so look out for that. And if you haven't joined in with that yet, you can do. That's where Vince hosts the after party, and where all of the pictures that I show on these live streams are uploaded to. That's where I then get a link from Carla or Vince in order to get them uploaded to the software so that we can show them on the live streams. But without further ado, let me also get the super chat window up on screen, because we've had a bit of action in there. Let's get up tonight's standard likes target as well, which is 355. That's what we are aiming for. We're shooting for the stars, and we'll see how we get on with that. I know that Tuesday tends to be maybe a little bit of a more difficult day in order to get the amount of likes, because people are working and all that kind of stuff. But having said that, recently the Tuesdays have been very well populated, and we've been hitting the targets, which is why we're having so many pick roulettes. But also the breaking news here in the UK is that as of yesterday, we're now in full lockdown, which means you can't leave your house unless you're going to buy food or it's an emergency. So I'm just always in this room pretty much anyway, so it doesn't really affect me, but it probably means that there are a lot more people at home on the internet watching YouTube maybe. So we'll see what happens with these live streams, but we seem to have a few people coming in through the door, so thank you for joining me on this Tuesday night or day or morning, whatever the time is where you are. Obviously time zones vary, but let's get into this super chat window. And we had a very early donation from Jeannie for $5. So thank you for that, Jeannie. And this was at almost 10 past 5 this morning. So thank you for that. And the message is, early bird greetings, Phil. I'm ready to rock, with some rock horns, a guitar, and a heart as well. So thank you for that, Jeannie. And Marilyn has donated $5 twice in a row. So thank you for that, Marilyn. The first message was, hi Phil and everyone. I hope for a great year for us all, with a heart. And then the second message is, hi Phil, it's 4:33 in Florida and I spiked the likes. I'll be in the catch-up crew, with another heart. So thank you for that, Marilyn, for those donations and those messages, and also for donating but only being able to watch it on catch up. And again, all of you guys who are watching it on catch up, you can still hit that thumbs up. It really does help these live streams to get out there and for the channel to grow as a whole. And we also had a donation from Linda Z as well, who has donated $5. Thank you for that, Linda. The message is, hi Phil and fellow wingers, it's a long work day again. I'll try hard to not be grumpy for missing the live stream, but I might not be able to help it. So thank you for that, Linda, and I hope that your workday passes as quickly as humanly possible. They tend to go, for some reason, a lot more slowly than is normally the case when you're doing something that you enjoy, especially these live streams. It seems like we all enter a time warp or something, because before you know it, it's already 10 past 1 or quarter past 1 and we're calling it to a close. But fortunately, it's only 7 minutes past midnight, so we've still got about an hour to go. So we'll just have to try and let the time sink in and appreciate that we're not almost finished. But we will see how we get on. A huge shout out to the moderators as well. I did mention Carla earlier on, and we're going to be taking a look at Carla later on. I think a lot of people are used to seeing Carla in her job as moderator, but maybe not visually, whereas finally we do have a picture of Carla. We actually have a couple that I'm going to be showing, and you can now attribute Carla's name to a face, and Carla's always in there moderating, and also organises the pick roulette wheel as well, gets all the names on that. So a massive thank you to her for doing that, and we're going to be seeing Carla later on. Also, big shout out to Laurie and Neil as well, who moderate in there. And as their names go through, they are in blue and they have a wrench next to their name. So look out for them in the live chat room, and they keep everything under control. But we have a pretty good community here as a whole. It tends to be just one person who pops in who might be a troll, and then they hop out again. So we'll see what happens. It's one of those things that's bound to happen, considering now the amount of subscribers getting involved. We've got 158,000. So thank you everyone for hitting that subscribe button as well as the like button, because we're getting a quite impressive community here on the channel. But the good thing is that we're just keeping everything the same as it's always been on these live streams, and with the analysis videos as well. The only difference is that on Wednesdays we're now doing a live analysis, which I think I've done 4 or 5 of those now so far. And just a quick heads up about that, tomorrow it's going to be the same time as the live streams on a Tuesday and a Saturday, so that's 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time, and we're going to be taking a look at Jerry Marsden, or Jerry and the Pacemakers. We're going to be looking at tomorrow, following a lot of requests, which was following the sad news that he had passed away recently. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night, so you can join me for that if you want, or you can watch it on catch up. It's exactly the same as every other analysis video. So we are going to be jumping into the first video of the night that has been requested over on Patreon. Thank you guys for giving me some videos to play tonight and on all of the live streams. We are just going to have a quick look into the super chat window, because Cara has donated $4.99. Thank you for that, Cara, and it is a straight up donation. So thank you guys for all of these very early donations. We are going to be jumping into the first video of the night, and I'm just going to jump over to Patreon to see. This was Kevin that requested Art Not Commerce, and it was also Constantia who requested this one as well. I just have a little scroll down, but I think that's it. I'll have to refresh the screen to see if any other ones came in. But we're going to be jumping into this. It's going to be the live performance version of it, my song called Art Not Commerce. I'm going to be in the live chat room as always while these videos are playing, and I'll see you guys after this. Rock! And there we have it. That was my song called Art Not Commerce, and that was obviously the live version of it, but you can get the recorded version from my album called Persistence at wingsofpegasus.com/store. And let me get you guys up on screen again. I did see a comment or two about the mix on that particular live performance, and what I do sometimes is play the album version of Art Not Commerce, where I go for a very long walk. And with that video, because that was recorded in here and I did it for my album, so it means that I mixed it all properly, so the vocal there you're going to be able to hear very clearly because it is a studio produced song. Whereas, because that's the live version, I just set up everything as close as I could get it, or at least as close as I thought it would be, just trying to watch the levels in order to then have a half decent mix. And that's just what it sounded like. I unfortunately couldn't hear the mix because that was a live stream that I was doing. I couldn't adjust it on the fly because I couldn't hear what the mix was like, because the mixing desk was going into my interface, going into the computer, and I couldn't hear it coming back out the speakers. Otherwise it would be really off-putting because it would be slightly delayed coming out the speakers. So we just played, and then whatever the sound was going into the computer, that was just it. And that was just the video that I recorded while it was going through the stream and the audio from the stream. So unfortunately I can't change anything about the level of my voice in there, but that's what happens with live performances. Sometimes the mix isn't ideal, but I think actually, considering that I couldn't hear it, it will certainly be settled for. I don't really mind it too much. If you do want to hear the album version of it, then you can head over to my website and hear that all mixed and the recorded version of the song, because it will be slightly different. Maybe the guitar solo will be slightly different, and there'll be little bits here or there because it does vary from live to then the recorded version. But anyway, I'm sure that if you tune into these live streams in the future, you'll be able to hear the album version at some point. It will get requested. But anyway, thank you for joining me on this Tuesday night. We're up to 177 likes so far. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. You can always spike the likes if you want to. We're at 177 likes on the 17th minute past midnight. So we've got a lot of sevens going on, and it's just gone to 178, so it's ruined what I was saying, but it's okay. And the other thing is, not that I want to mention hair too much on these live streams, because we always talk about hair, but then again sometimes diet as well, and exercise, and lots of different topics of discussion. But because we are in a nationwide lockdown, it means no haircuts, and I'm already at the point where I've got to do a bit of a centre parting to be able to see, so who knows in a few weeks' time what I am going to look like. It's going to be entertaining. You can just tune in to see what I look like. It's going to be ridiculous. But anyway, getting back into the Super Chat window, we've had a little bit more action in there. So we've had Michael, who has donated $5, so thank you for that, Michael. And the message is, Carla is wonderful. Question, I need to write a song about a time warp or space distortion. Do you have any tips? And my tips for writing songs in general is always start with melody. I tend to write with a particular chord progression or riff that I might be thinking of, and once I've got it all pieced together from a chord progression standpoint, then I work on the melody over the top of that, and pretty much the lyrical content is the last thing that I will do. And it just depends. Sometimes there is a song that you want to write and you've got the lyrical content in your head because you know which avenue you want to go down with it, but then I think it is a case of waiting until you have a chord progression that is melodic and it's catchy and you like the sound of it and it's progressive, and it might lift you up in the chorus and then drop back down again for the verses. So just get the fundamental parts of the track afterwards, and then if it's about time warp or space distortion, then you can start trying to weave in the lyrics to what you've written so far, because everyone will connect and get hooked to that melody of the chord progression and the vocal melody. And this is something that I mentioned in the last analysis video I did on Paul McCartney performing yesterday, because he came up with the chords and the melody, and didn't even have any words. The words were literally the very last thing that he came up with, and I do mention on that video about him singing scrambled eggs in terms of keeping everything in its place. And I'm not going to go through all of that again, but if you do want to check out that video, it's on YouTube here somewhere. Just type in British Guitarist Analysis The Beatles, and you might find the other Beatles analysis videos that I've done as well, so you can watch those. But the last one that I did was specifically on Paul McCartney, and it's just the fact that it's probably a good thing to try and copy if a guy like Paul McCartney just does all of the chords first and then comes up with a vocal melody and doesn't write the lyrics until the end. Especially with a song like that, it's probably a good formula to start to try and copy or emulate. So yeah, and if you are talking about time warp or space distortion as an after effect, you might want to start adding in some phaser on the guitar, maybe a little bit of flanger or something. You can put in these spatial sounding or space age sounding effects and just mix them in. If you have got a vocal or any chords that you want to add it to, you can start messing around with the effects after all of the melodic content is done. That would be my advice. But thank you for that, Michael. And Sue has donated $20. Thank you for that, Sue. And it's a straight up donation. And we have Renee in the house who has donated $10. Thank you for that. Or Nora101, as she is also known. But thank you for this donation. The message is, hi Phil, why did McCartney strum upwards so much on Yesterday when you demonstrated? I don't think you did that unless I wasn't watching carefully. So thank you for that, Renee. And this was how Paul McCartney was playing. If you guys haven't seen that video, he used his thumb on the root notes of his chords, and then he used his first finger and second finger to do downstrokes. He also catches the strings with upstrokes, and it's something that is his own personal technique, just the way that he plays. It does strike me as something that is very much just the case of starting to learn to play without a pick and without having spent a lot of time on techniques such as alternate picking, economy picking, and considering that Paul did play a lot of bass as well. He is, of course, a multi-instrumentalist, but it means spreading your time around from between lots of different instruments rather than just focusing on guitar and spending a lot of time getting into the nitty-gritty of techniques. And when you're looking to get a particular effect or sound on the guitar and you're not spending 6 to 8 hours or even 4 to 6 hours a day practicing, it's just something you pick up your own way of doing it, and you pick up your own way of doing it to the extent that whatever the sound you're aiming for, if it's achieved doing something, for example, just doing an upstroke with your right hand, then there's no need for you to work on the official or textbook way of doing it because you've achieved your goal of getting the sound you want. And that is what it strikes me as with Paul, that he's throwing in those upstrokes because it's just something that he finds comfortable doing, and it was a way to achieve the goal of the sound that he was trying to achieve. And that is pretty much the case with music. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you can achieve your sound that you're aiming for, then just do whatever comes most naturally. And that's certainly what Paul's doing with those downstrokes with the right hand, and using the thumb. That's also a major part of it, to bounce between that root note of the chord and then the rest of the chord as well. I know that once the strings come in, it's a little bit more filled in. You don't hear the guitar as much. There might even be another guitar off stage that is being strummed that's just in the mix there to help Paul out with the strings coming in, because it is a lot more of a sound that's going to start taking your attention, because it is effectively a melodic lead line that we get from the strings behind the rhythm guitar, and they do tend to take over. Of course, you're going to be focusing on Paul's vocal, and that's what really does take your attention as well. But anyway, thank you for that, Renee. And Marge has donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Marge. The message is, Ferry Cross the Mersey, one of my all-time favourite songs. Thank you, Jerry. So thank you for that, Marge. And just to point you guys in the direction of tomorrow night's live analysis, because we will be taking a look at Jerry and the Pacemakers, and I believe it was 1964, maybe 1965, definitely mid-60s, a performance that we're going to be looking at. And in that video, he was sharing the stage, or sharing the performances, with Chuck Berry as well. So it's going to be a video that's definitely worth watching in isolation, in every sense of the word, if you are isolating because of COVID. But just watching that video, I think it's about 15, 16 minutes in length, something like that. But we will have a look at that tomorrow, where we'll just pick one of Jerry's performances and analyze it as well, because he did get through a lot of work on the guitar, which we will bust out tomorrow night. So make sure you check that out. Same time as this started, 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time. But thank you, Marge, for that donation. And we have another donation, and this is from R. Stokes. So thank you for that, and it's for $5. The message is, thanks, Phil. Enjoy your show and all of your expertise, with a smiley face. So thank you for the kind words, and thank you for watching. And that goes to everybody here on the channel, you guys who do such an amazing job with hitting the thumbs up, but also subscribing, and the comments, because we get a lot of comments in that comment section. So thank you guys for that. And also the comments in the live chat room tonight. As you can see, going through here, and we can see that Neil's just gone through, and Selena and Vince and Billy. Hello guys, and thank you for joining me tonight. So we are going to be jumping into the next video of the night. Stay tuned later on, because we're going to be jumping into another pick roulette. So we'll be giving away another Wings of Pegasus signed pick, and here it is with the signature on the back. So hopefully it will be your lucky night tonight. Everybody who did type I agree in last Tuesday's live stream, it means that that's how you get your name on the pick roulette wheel. And just to reiterate that, you have to type I agree when you can see your name go through on the live chat room. If the live chat room screen isn't on screen and you don't see your name going through there, then you won't unfortunately be on the pick roulette wheel. But a lot of you are getting the hang of it, because we've got over 100 names on that wheel again tonight. So look out for that later, and good luck everybody for that later. So Stephen's just popped in with a $4 donation. So thank you for that, Stephen. And it's the guy saying cheers with his squash. And what have we got? We've got orange squash tonight, whereas the guy has summer fruit squash by the looks of it, which I do have occasionally, but tonight it is orange for the most part. I'd say we're 90% orange squash on these live streams. But thank you for that, Stephen. And we're going to be jumping into the cover video for tonight. And again, let me have a little hop over to the Patreon page to see which requests we got over there. And this one that we're going to be looking at is a particular favourite of mine, because it's a song called Please. Well, Please. I was reading out Cindy's beginning of the comment. Cindy said, please don't slow down. So I was going to say this song is called Don't Slow Down, not Please Don't Slow Down. But thank you, Cindy, for requesting this. And it is another classic Mr. track, and they're one of those bands that I did get into quite a lot when I was younger, and that's just my parents' fault. But it's a cover that I think is one of my most enjoyable ones, just because I love the song so much, and also trying to listen to exactly what's going on throughout the whole song is a challenge. So it means that I really had to kind of study it and try and get the lead guitar parts in the intro to sound like the synth that's being played on the track was quite difficult, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I got there in a way. It's definitely my own version of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you, Cindy, for requesting this. And actually, we did have another request of a Mr. track, which was Broken Wings, I think. And this was Lisa, who said, Broken Wings for my not broken but very badly bruised right arm. So in a way, it's the same band, so this can go out to Lisa and Cindy, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Again, I'll be in the live chat room while this is playing, and I'll see you guys after. Rock! And there we have it. That was my version of Don't Slow Down by Mr. Mister. And I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And let me get you guys back on screen again. We've had a little bit of action in the super chat window, so let's address that. And let me just scroll up because there have been a few donations, so thank you guys for these. And we've had a $10 donation from Sugimoto313, so thank you for that. And the message is, when you talk about Jerry and the pacemakers, could please you explain what the Mersey beat sound is? So thank you for that donation, and I will explain that tomorrow night, but I just explain it now as well, because the Mersey beat sound is to do with Liverpool, of course. Well, I say of course as if everybody knows this, but I don't know. But there is a River Mersey, and maybe you guys know this on. It's basically the area that Liverpool is in, and other surrounding areas around that river is called the River Mersey, and they just called it the Mersey Beat. I think there might have even been a publication at the time called the Mersey Beat, but I'm not sure about that. I'm going to have to see if that's a little bit of information my brain's thrown in there that isn't actually correct. But anyway, it means that any other band, with the Beatles being so huge at that time, it means that it inspired everyone pretty much, but especially bands and artists and just people in Liverpool to start a band and to start singing and get out there. So it meant that there was this rise in bands and artists from Liverpool, and they were all given this same name, or they were all referred to as the Mersey Beat sound, just covering pretty much every band or artist that came out of Liverpool at the same time as the Beatles, and even just after the Beatles. They might be a couple of years after, considering the impact that the Beatles had. Obviously there was a lot of then demand for other bands similar to the Beatles, and that's why they were then given that name or description of the sound being called the Mersey Beat sound. But anyway, and as you say, Jerry was a huge part of that as well. But anyway, thank you. He's actually, had that direct reference to the Mersey. So yeah, we'll be looking at Jerry tomorrow night, so make sure you tune in for that one if you want. But Jerry is also on the channel here somewhere, I think about maybe 2 years ago now. It was probably a couple of years ago that I featured Jerry for the first time, and I did get into quite a lot of background on that particular video, so you can check that out if you want to, and maybe use that as a little bit of a taster or a starter for tomorrow night's video as well. But anyway, thank you so much for that donation. And we have a $20 donation from Tondalea Kapufnik. So thank you so much for that donation, and it's a straight up donation without a message, so thank you for that. And Rick has donated $4.99. Thank you for that, Rick, and again a straight up donation with that one. And we have Motown Girl 22 who has donated $5. Thank you so much for that. And it is a crying face, and the message is, to all who are affected by this COVID, I wished 2021 would start better. So thank you for that. I think unfortunately with COVID is something that's going to be with us for a very long time, and especially here in the UK, it really does show that people don't realise that all of the data, all of the information that we get on COVID, there's a 3-week delay. So it means that, for example, when we went into lockdown in November and then it was lifted at the beginning of December, everyone then started going out and socializing and have kind of forgotten or just not appreciated the virus is still out there. So it means that once the lockdown's been lifted, it doesn't mean you can just go out and act normally, but unfortunately that's exactly what people did, especially over Christmas. And it means that now 3 weeks later, this is now why in the UK we're in a full lockdown, is because people went out and just lived normally, and now we're starting to see the result of people doing that. So it's trying to get the understanding that whatever you do now will be reflected in 3 weeks. So obviously people see the deaths figures and the amount of new infections, and they think, what's happening? Why is this happening now? Whereas they don't realize that it isn't now. This was 3 weeks ago. This is how much it spread 3 weeks ago. It takes that long for the infection to take hold and then for all of these statistics to come through. So that's why there is a spike now, because of 3 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I think it will be the case that the spike is still going to happen, because we've still got probably Christmas Day and all of the time around New Year when we weren't in lockdown, even though the government was telling everybody to stay at home. I think a lot of people didn't. So there's a chance that we're going to see the figures rise again for another week or two, just because we don't see the effects of it until 3 weeks later. But once you start to understand that, I think it makes a little bit more sense. I'm just hoping that the whole UK can take in the information that what you're hearing on a day-to-day basis isn't today's infection rates that are happening live. It happened 3 weeks ago, and now we're getting the figures. So yeah, what we do now is going to set us up for 3 weeks, and so on and so on and so on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can start to make a little bit of inroads into bringing the infections down, or at least the reported statistics down, in 3 weeks' time by now having a lockdown and just being sensible. I think, unfortunately, with the news of the vaccine as well, people just think, oh, there's a vaccine, so we can go back to normal. They don't really take it in that it's just as deadly as it's ever been. If anything, it's more deadly because of this extra strain, or the new strain that's happened. And I think that's happened in a few countries, and the UK is certainly one of those, where there's now an even more infectious strain of coronavirus. So it means that we have to be even more careful. But I think a lot of people over Christmas and when we came out of lockdown in December just went back to normal, and that's why we're having this peak again. But fingers crossed, people will start to understand it. Maybe it could be a good thing to explain it more on TV, because I don't think people understand. I don't think our whole country and the whole of the UK understand that there's that delay between what's happening now and when we see the result of what's happening. So it just needs to be communicated a little bit more clearly, so that people now think, right, we've got to be really strict for 3 weeks, and then we'll start to see an improvement. But anyway, thank you so much for that donation. And COVID is something that we could talk about for a very long time, but I, like everybody, and I'm sure you guys as well, are just waiting and hoping that things get better if everybody just follows the government's guidelines and is just strict for just a 2 to 3 week period. That's what's needed in order to start getting a little bit of a more positive outlook. But anyway, thank you for that donation. Kay has donated $5 as well. Thank you for this, Kay. And the message is, do studio musicians get royalties? So thank you for that. And the quick answer to that is no. Generally what will happen is a studio musician, if it is a session musician, will have an agreement with the particular studio that they're working for, and they might have an hourly rate. It all depends on the agreement with the particular session musician, but generally there would be an hourly rate as to how much they get paid, and they might go into the studio, they'll be given the chords or the sheet music for what they're playing, and it might take them a couple of hours or a few hours of different takes and playing different takes of the verse, chorus, maybe solo sections that they're doing, and depending on how long that takes, they'll then get an hourly fee. And once they've been paid that, that is their fee, and that is it. You don't get any royalties for then the song being played and they're being played on the radio. That's now the songwriter who gets all of those royalties. It depends on the contract that they have. It's either an hourly rate, sometimes it's a flat fee for a particular session in the studio. That's another contract that you might sign, and again, that's just a one-off fee. You don't get royalties on it being played on the radio. In very rare cases, you might have an agreement. If you know the writer of the song, they might agree with you that you get a percentage of the royalties. And that is rare for that to happen, but it is something that can happen. So That means for every time the song is played, you get a performance royalty. And again, that's a percentage that can be worked out with the songwriter, but that generally isn't the case. It's a unique situation for that to occur. It's generally going to be an hourly rate or a flat fee that is charged by that session musician. And this is why session musicians have to go to different studios and look for regular employment from particular studios, or they just have to look out all the time for any job that's coming up. And it's a cutthroat business because there are so many session musicians. It means that there are so many players that are just looking for their next paycheck. They've got to just go out there and try and get as many jobs as possible. But there are so many session musicians. This is why it's so difficult, because there are so many people that can just do the same job. So it is very much of, when you do get a job with a studio, if you do it really well and make sure that you're better than everybody else, then you'll generally get hired again. But this is something that I haven't really got into, and it's not really been a focus of mine to do session work, even though I have done it in the past. But that was just from being asked to do it because of myself being on the internet and people checking out my music and wanting to get a particular bit of rhythm guitar or lead guitar that sounded like what I play in my own music. So that's the only session stuff that I've done. Also a little bit of session vocals. And again, that's just from people hearing me sing on my original stuff and then have asked me to do stuff for them. But that was probably a few years ago now. I haven't had time to do that. And any requests that I do get now, unfortunately, I don't have time to do any session stuff because I am busy doing all of this stuff on my own channel and selling my own music. That is my focus, really, is just making sure that people can get a hold of my own original material, because then I'm making money from selling my own music, my albums on digital downloads as well. And that is what I'd rather be making money for, rather than just doing session work, because session work is a flat fee. Like I said, I don't know the people who have written the songs that I might be doing a guide vocal for, so it means that I got paid a flat fee and then that is it. Whereas my own music, every time I sell a CD, every time I have a song downloaded, I make revenue from that, and it's something that's a passive revenue. I don't know, apart from my report on my website, exactly when people are buying CDs or when they're doing the downloads. The CDs are easier for me to track because I sign them and send them off myself, whereas just the odd 79p download, if you just get a few of those going off, maybe every hour or something, it's just a little top up that's going to be helping you all the time. And if you just own all of your publishing rights and you own your own music, it means that when people do start downloading just a track or a few tracks, somebody might do 4 or 5 tracks from your album. It means you're getting 3, 4, 5 quid, and you know, you can't complain about that. It's so much better than having a flat fee that you're paid and then earn nothing. This is the great thing about original music. If you just keep your rights to everything and then you can get your music out to a lot of people and they like it, then you get that passive income, which can then just finance everything that you want to do in the future with your music as well. But anyway, again, another thing that you could talk for years about, royalties and publishing rights. So thank you for that, Kay. And Lynn has donated $100. Thank you so much for that, Lynn. A very kind donation again. And the message is, thanks for that great cover and for creating a clean, well-lighted place in a messy and pretty dark time. So thank you for that, Lynn, and hopefully this is well lighted. Some people have said, I know what you mean, but some people have said about the lighting in the studio here, they say, oh, you need to take less light on your face or turn down the light that's on your face. But unfortunately, the light that's on my face is the monitor screen. I'm sat right in front of the computer. As you can see, when I look over here, I've got a monitor to the left, but the screen in front of me is giving the light onto my face. So I can't really help that unless I turned it off, but then I wouldn't be able to see anything that's going on. So it's not some fancy lighting that I've got set up. It is just the lighting that is on the rail lights on the ceiling, but also just the screens that I'm looking at. But thank you for that, Lynn. And I know you didn't mean about the lighting in the studio, but I thought I'd mention that because you just reminded me about it. But thank you for joining us, Lynn, and that very Very kind donation. And Lisa has donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Lisa. The message is, will the new UK lockdown affect your carpet delivery? Thank you for that, Lisa. It's something that I haven't even thought about until now. But if it lasts as long as that, then yes, it means nobody will be coming here to install the new carpet that I have ordered. It was already massively delayed. I did order it last November, was it? Or maybe just when we came out of lockdown at the beginning of December. So it is something that has been delayed because of COVID and all of the situations going on. And it looks like it might be delayed even more, but I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you up to date on the carpet installation and we'll see when it happens. It would be nice to have it just because in here and in the UK, because the weather is so cold at the moment and everything here is just very cold with there's nothing on the walls and the hard flooring obviously doesn't keep any of the cold out. It's a very cold floor. So when I'm in here and it is cold weather, I do have the heater on, but sometimes it's just a situation of keeping the hoodie on and trying to stay as warm as possible, but it does tend to warm up after a while, but it's something that I think it would really help for the acoustic space as well. And the acoustics, having a carpet in here, but certainly keeping it warmer, it will help. But anyway, thank you so much for that, Lisa. And Stephen has donated $10 again. Thank you for that. The message is, #1 fan, and it's the guy dancing up and down. So thank you for that, Stephen. And we've had another very kind donation from Ray, who is in the house tonight. Thank you for joining us, Ray, and this donation. And the message is, as you were discussing COVID-19 as well as the 14-day lag time on hospitalizations and then deaths, I was thinking about how analytical you are no matter the topic. Do you think most musicians are both analytical and creative like you? So thank you for that, Ray. And to answer, I mean, this is a really complicated question, but I would say that I am lucky in that my parents, I think, are two totally different sides of the coin. So it means that my mum is very organized, very analytical, and my dad is very creative. But they have those two qualities independent of each other. So it means that I've been brought up to probably be a mix of those two. So I've got the creativity side from my dad, but then the analytical side from my mum. So it means that whenever I'm doing anything, I am looking at both of those sides. And I think it's a massive part of why a lot of musicians struggle and don't really get anywhere and trying to get their music out there and they can't do it, is because they're creative but they're not analytical. So it means that when they're making music, that's fine, and they can get in the studio, they can make an album, they can produce, they can get their product. Whereas when it's a case of now trying to market your product, this is why record labels employ so many people, because they need people who are going to now analyze how are we going to get the music out to the relevant audience. And I think nowadays with the internet and being able to do everything yourself, it means that myself personally, I've thought, right, where are my audience? Who would want to listen to my music? And I know that my music is hard rock and that people say it sounds a bit like maybe Bon Jovi or Winger and bands that I get compared to or compared with. I then go to those bands' fan sites, and this is something that I did on Twitter. I wrote over 110,000 personal messages to people who checked out the different fan pages of Winger, Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, any hard rock bands that I could find. I then got into the fan bases and just asked them, would you mind checking out my music? And that's what I did. As I said, over 110,000 messages that I wrote. And it was over the course of maybe 2 or 3 years, but I just did that day in, day out, and just hoped that I would eventually, if I was messaging maybe 50 to 100 people a day, then after a while there might be 2 or 3 people a day that might like it, and that would add up over the course of weeks and months and years. You would accumulate a fan base, and that's the way that I approached it. And I know it's a very analytical way of doing it, and you have to be very organized and very strict with your time, and yeah, you've got to really want to do it. It's not easy, but I think a lot of people do the creation side of things, but then don't really dig into how do you get people to check out your music. And generally, it's just a case of working hard, and probably working harder than other people, because everyone's got a product. There are so many musicians and original musicians in the world. You've just got to try and do more work than the other people who might have done their album and then have just thought, right, hopefully people will now listen to it, and I'll put it on Spotify, I'll put it on iTunes, I'll do it on Amazon as well, and hope that people listen to it. But you can't hope for anything. You've got to make people listen to it. And that was very much my focus for, well, pretty much my whole career since the age of 19, so almost 20 years now. But I'd say in the last probably 3 to 4 years, things have really taken off. So there's probably about, 15 years that have gone into it to get to that point. But that's what I have done. But I think that to answer that question in a nutshell, I think that musicians aren't both analytical and creative. I think that they need to be in the current day climate in order to get their music out there. Because now with the internet, everyone has potentially got the opportunity to get their music in front of lots of people. So it means that it's even more of a competitive space on the internet. And I know that a lot of people would say back in the 70s and the 80s, they didn't have the opportunities that the internet has given independent musicians and original musicians nowadays. But then you can always there's always a counter argument that because the internet now exists, it is so much more competitive. Everybody can put their music on the internet. So how do you make yourself be heard above everybody who's an independent musician and has their own website, uploaded their own album and recorded their own album, because now everyone can do it at home? So it's so much more of a competitive music place or marketplace for music that, yeah, there's always going to be the argument that it's not easy. And there are so many musicians that do struggle. I think it's getting that mix of analytics and understanding what you have to do in order to get your music heard, but also just analyzing yourself and make sure that you can sing in tune and that you can play the guitar or any instrument that you might be playing to a decent level, and be self-analytical as well, because that is something that will help you to improve day by day to the point where you will then not only be better musically than a lot of people who don't really analyze themselves and are strict, but you'll be better than other people at marketing and doing the things you need to do to make yourself heard by a wide audience. And yeah, I think fundamentally, musically, just do what you do. The amount of people that have said to me, oh, that rock music, that's been done already, you should try and do something original. That's not the point. You've got to enjoy what you're doing, and I enjoy making hard rock and classic rock music. So I think if you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to be a hell of a lot more likely to spend a lot of time working at it and analyzing it, because you don't mind it. If I was doing a music genre that I didn't enjoy, I would no way have spent 15 years promoting it and doing it full stop and recording it and doing covers of songs like that. So yeah, it's a huge thing. Just do the music, make the music that you want to make, cover the songs that you want to cover, and you will be a lot more likely to spend a lot of time and put the effort into it to getting it out to more people. But anyway, thank you for that, Ray. We've had some topics that have popped up in this live stream where I have been babbling on about them, and I could talk about this kind of stuff for years, about publishing and independent music. But also, just while I mention that, Daniel Donato, who was on the last In at the Deep End, that you can see on this channel. It's a little segment that we have where we jam along, talk about the artist, but also jam along to a track that we've never heard before. Daniel's now got his name on the back of Ernie Ball Strings. So you'll see a lot of names listed, especially if you're over in the USA, but you'll see Daniel Donato's name on a pack of, I'm not sure which they are, but I've got some skinny top, heavy bottom strings. This is actually just a coaster, which I've got of Ernie Ball. We've got the super slinky ones there as well, but he will have his name. So check those out if you do get a chance. And I can't remember which packet it was, but Daniel Donato's name. That's a really cool thing. I just wanted to give that a shout out because Daniel is an independent artist, and it shows you how much you can achieve nowadays on the internet. you can get known all over the world just through the internet. And that's something that certainly Daniel has done, but not only the internet, but by gigging and touring and doing everything that Daniel has done. So big shout out to Daniel, a friend of the channel here. But we are just going to be getting back into the super chat window because let me scroll down a bit. Deborah has donated $10. Thank you for that, Deborah. And it's the guy saying thank you, doing some praying. So thank you for that, Deborah. And Paul has donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Paul. The message is praying for the end of COVID. Everyone stay safe. So thank you for that, Paul. And Stephen has donated $10 again. Thank you for that, Stephen. The message is just bought your signed album. Great! Exclamation mark. So thank you for that, Stephen. And I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get out there with COVID. I know that postal services are just a little bit delayed. So thank you for ordering that, Stephen. And I will sign that and send that off to you. And I'm just trying to remember in the batch that I've done last, I can't remember whether Stephen's name was in there and that you've ordered it previously, Stephen, but I have just sent off a batch of them, so yours will be in the next batch that I will send off. So thank you for that, Stephen, if it wasn't in that last batch that I've done. But thank you, Orlando, as well, who has donated $2. Orlando's in the house and says, sorry I am late. Spike the likes with lots of thumbs up. So great idea there from Orlando. If you want to hit that thumbs up, it'll be much appreciated. We are at 307 likes and we're aiming for 355, and the Pick Roulette likes target for tonight is set at 360, so we will see if we can get as high as that. By the way, it is 1 a.m. here, so the time just disappears. We've got maybe 10-15 minutes left of the live stream. We've still got the pictures to get through and the Pick Roulette to get through, so we'll do that in a second. And Susan has just donated $10. Thank you for that, Susan. The message is, so much fun to hang out with Wingers and Phil. Live streams and Patreon are a great way to start the year. Amen to that, and thank you, Susan, for joining me and everybody tonight as well. So let's catch our breath and jump into the pictures for tonight. And thank you guys for uploading these to the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. You guys can head over there if you want to as well. Vince hosts the after party. So we are going to be jumping into this now where I disappear from the screen and I do have to go to a different place in order to get these pictures. So let's hope that I've done this correctly. First of all, we're going to get Paul up on screen, and Paul was just mentioned a second ago, and we have so much merchandise going on here. We also have a little bit of Beatles action going on there as well, and that is very relevant considering the last analysis video that I did on Paul McCartney and the Beatles. But thank you for uploading this, Paul, and we can see there we've got a couple of mugs in there. We've got the Wings of Pegasus signed pick because Paul won one of the pick roulettes. So congratulations on that as well. That is rare stuff. There's a picture of some guy holding the guitar. We've also got a mask. We've got two masks actually in there, and the signed album and the t-shirt. So thank you, Paul. We've pretty much got everything possible on and around Paul there. So thank you so much for that. I think I did also upload the picture of Paul with the Beatles. I think that's just a picture. So I just saw that from Vince as well. So thank you for that. I think it's something from the wall that might have been in the background, or Vince mentioned something about that in his message. So Paul got it down to show it. So thank you for that, and also for modelling the Wings of Pegasus t-shirt as well. We have Deborah, who unfortunately for some reason is very full screen at the moment, but it's actually it's great because we get to see the customization that Deborah did to her Wings of Pegasus hoodie. So as you can see, she has just changed it in order to have a zip up just on the top there. So it was just destiny, something that the software put into that particular picture, but it was great because we got to focus on. I should have pretended that I meant to do that, but I didn't. But there we go. There is Deborah with her customized hoodie. So thank you for uploading that one, Deborah. It's much appreciated. And now we have Carla, who is modeling her mask here. And this is Carla, the moderator Carla, who is always in these live streams, does such a great job, and organizes the pick roulette, gets all of your names on that wheel. So thank you for that, Carla. And it was just something that Carla did say in a message, that she hasn't uploaded any pictures, but this is just so you guys can put a face to the name. And we do have Carla also modeling the Spike the Likes mug. So thank you for that, Carla. And guys, if you want to get your hands on any of the merchandise, it's in the tray underneath this video, but also on teespring.com. And just type in Wings of Pegasus, you'll be able to find it. You can also find Carla's merchandise at wingsofpegasus.com, and then just click on the merch tab on the site and you'll find the necklaces and earrings and pretty much everything ever that Carla has put together. So thank you so much for doing that as well, Carla. So those are the pictures, and thank you everyone for uploading those. We're just going to get rid of that background and back to me. So now we're going to be jumping into the pick roulette for tonight. So everybody brace yourselves, and hopefully this is all going to work. Fingers crossed, we will see. But I'm going to disappear for a while. Don't type I agree during the pictures or when we do the pick roulette, but wait till afterwards so that you can see it in the live chat room if we do hit the 360 target for tonight. So let's jump into tonight's live pick roulette and see who's going to win. So here we have it. There is the pick roulette wheel. So how many names have we got on there? It's 104. I have been informed by Carla that we've got over 100 names tonight. As always, we're going to be doing our shuffle. If you haven't seen one of these before, we shuffle the names 4 or 5 times. I always tend to go for 5 just to make sure. So here we go. We are about to shuffle. Whoa, let me see what's going on here. They're not shuffling. Let me see if I need a little bit of a zoom going on. Maybe. I want to make sure. Okay, the shuffle is not working. So what can I do in order to get this? Let's do a refresh of the pick roulette wheel and see if we can do a shuffle now. 1, there we go. 2, 3, 4, 5. I was just going to keep on going until we managed to shuffle, because last time, or was it last time or the time before, Stan won twice because I forgot to shuffle it. So I had to be able to do that to make sure it's all above board. But here we go. Let's spin this wheel and see who's going to win. That didn't win. That didn't win. The spin and the win didn't rhyme in that because I put in the wrong word. But anyway, I'm sure at some point, sometimes I say, let's give it a spin and see who's going to win, but that didn't work on that particular occasion because I didn't say that. Anyway, let's get back into this and stop babbling on about catchphrases. We have Sharon and Linda Z's just gone through. Sharon's just gone through. Lisa, it's a little bit small to see. We've got Carol, I think that it's almost stopping on. Or is it going to be Sue? It looks like it has stopped on Sue. So congratulations to Sue. And let me just move this little capture screen to the side so you guys can see there is the confirmation. So, as you guys all know, or maybe you don't, if you can make yourself known, Sue, in the live chat room to Carla, that would be much appreciated in order for Carla to get your details and sort everything out in order to send you the very limited edition Wings of Pegasus signed pick, because you can only win one of these in the live stream roulette that we do. So congratulations to Sue, and as always, commiserations to everybody else on that wheel. But the good news is, if we hit our target for the likes on this particular live stream, then you can maybe have your name entered on the next one and you have another chance to win. There's always going to be another chance to win as long as we hit the likes targets in the live streams. So congratulations again to Sue, and let's see if we can bring everything back to me on screen, and there I am. And as I join you again, we are at 340 likes. So that means that we're looking for 15 to hit our standard target for tonight's live stream. But also we're looking for 20 more people to hit that thumbs up to have another live stream pick roulette next week. And to get your names on that, you have to make sure that you have typed in the live chat room, I agree. So we are just going to jump into the super chat window again because we have had a couple more donations, and Karen has donated $5. Thank you for that. The message is, Phil, hope this brings coiffure comfort. I too been without a haircut for so long. Perhaps you'd fancy this idea, a cousin it look-alike contest. Karen, and I'm not sure what that is, but a cousin it. Maybe that is, for some reason in my mind, it's giving me a picture of a person who has hair all over themselves. Not all over themselves, but all over their face. So you can't see their face. Maybe that's an American thing. I don't know where that bit of information has come from, but that's what I see in my head. I'm not sure it's something that we had here in the UK, but that's what I'm thinking of. So I think that's probably what Karen means. I might look like that. I tend to then do a center parting. So no matter how long my hair gets, it will just keep on going further and further and further and further down to the point where it will match up with this length and it'll be by the side. Hopefully we won't be in lockdown for that long because we'll be talking multiple months, but we will see what happens. Thank you for that, Karen. And Michael has donated $10. Thank you for that, Michael. Again, the message is, Carla's not only wonderful, but also beautiful. Question, what is a phaser? Is it a Star Trek stunner or a device for playing a guitar? So thank you for that, Michael. And phaser is an effect that you can place on your guitar, and you might see it on amplifiers. You can buy it as a standalone pedal as well if you want to. It was something that, especially towards the end of the 60s and throughout the 70s, people started to go a little bit crazy with effects, and phaser certainly worked its way in. By the way, if you're looking for an artist to get an idea of phaser, I mean, Van Halen used to use it on his lead tone as well as flanger as well. So effects wise, just if you type it in, I'm not sure if there's a way that I can explain it, because sometimes it does get confused with a flanger effect, which is more like the sound of air whooshing from left to right. It depends on how you pan it, but with a phaser, it does sound almost alien in nature. So it's a modulation. I'm maybe just really confusing things even more. But if you type in modulation effects, then you'll find phaser in there. And it's something that you've just got to really listen to it in order to hear the type of sound that it is. But yeah, if you type it in, I'm sure there are videos on YouTube with people even reviewing phaser pedals or just putting phaser on a sound so you get an appreciation of what it sounds like, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. But thank you for that donation, Michael. And by the way, guys, this is the time now to type I agree in the live chat room, because we're looking for 10 more people in order to hit that thumbs up to see if we can make it to the target, the pick roulette likes target. Let me just get that up on screen. 360 it should say, and it does. So we're looking for now 9 more people. We have just clocked over the 350 mark. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have a quick look over on Patreon, because we'll jump into another video to see what was requested in order to just elongate things a little bit more, because it's just 10 past 1 here in the UK, just gone. So we'll have a little look at another song, and we've had a few requests. I'm going to jump into probably Unwanted Stranger. This was requested by Lisa and Cindy as well. So let me get this going. We'll get this up on screen. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll try and leave that live chat room up on the screen. So type I agree in order to get your name on the pick roulette wheel for next week. If we do hit that target, which we need 4 more people in order to hit, we're looking to hit 360, but hopefully after this video we will be there, and then we'll be wrapping up the live stream. But I'll see you guys after this. Rock.
Told me something about you that I didn't want to know. You looked me right in the eye, and then you placed your head on my shoulder. This position that you put me in, you're on a mission to take my world from around me. Wide awake, I worry my brain. Turn over, turn over, turn over. Waiting, anticipating. Come on, make up your mind. Night of passion became a nightmare. When the flood arrived, I realized what a fool I've been. You don't even know me, so how could you love me? Let alone care for this someone, a stranger. Forget about the life that I dreamed of. Turn over, turn over, turn over. Waiting, anticipating. Come on, make up your mind. Repercussions and consequences. Should've known better. Wish I never met her. True to the letter, I'll never forget her. Waiting, anticipating. Come on, make up your mind.
And there we have it. That was my song called Unwanted Stranger. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And we are going to be calling things to a close here. So very last chance to type I agree in that live chat room window in order to see your name go through there, because that's how Carla gets the names for the pick roulette wheel. She watches the whole live stream back, goes through all of the live chat room and gets your I agree from this screen. So if you don't see it there, unfortunately you won't be able to get your names on that pick roulette wheel. But if you have seen it go through previously, then you will be on there for next week. So thank you everyone for hitting that thumbs up, because we did pass the target during that video. We have made it to 366 likes, so thank you for that. We just popped another one in there. If you're watching this on catch up, you can still be hitting that thumbs up. It really does help this whole live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow as a whole. And we are past 158,000 subscribers. So thank you everyone for joining me on the channel. And it looks like we have a few I agrees going through. We have Diane in there, Nalita and Christy. So Kara as well. We've got some very late arrivals. I'm just going to keep talking for a little bit. I can see more are going to be going through. We've got far queue as well. And I think that maybe was in order to mean something else, or maybe just talking about a queue that was very, very far away. But let's keep on going through. Kurt is in there as well. And we've still got GTO 69 still going through. Orlando has just gone through with I agree and lots of thumbs up. I'm sure Orlando probably typed that already, and Neil. And we've got lots of people here. And Sandy's just typed I agree with a thumbs up. And I'm waiting in order to just finish these. And Tondalea as well. And I know that Carla has just typed I agree with a thumbs up in order to try and get people to type that. So thank you for that. And Carla is going through in a second. I'm sure you guys can see it on the screen. And that's where everybody's name gets put on that roulette wheel. So hopefully we are going to have to call it a day. I'm hoping that we've got everybody's name in there. And just before we finish, we've had another donation from Karen, and this is for $5. Thank you for that. The message is, Phil, cousin, it was the all-hair guy from the Addams family. Otherwise, we can be twins. Laugh out loud. Your positivity and musicianship is much appreciated, Karen. So thank you for that, Karen. And I did used to watch a little bit of the Addams family back when I was a lot younger. And I'm trying to remember, was it Morticia, or maybe the woman was called that? I'm not sure. I didn't watch it very much, but I understand the show that you're talking about. But anyway, thank you for that, Karen, and thank you everyone for typing I agree. I think we're going to have to call it a day there. I'm just going to wait just a few seconds for Toons21 to go through, because I can see that they've typed I agree as well. But by the time I've finished talking, then that would have gone through. Thank you everyone for joining me tonight, and all of the donations in the super chat window for tonight as well. And let me just pop that up on screen, because I know that I referenced Karen's donation, but it wasn't on the screen at the time. So thank you guys for the super chat donations and being so kind over there, and the live chat room. Just for you guys joining me in these live streams, it's amazing to have people to talk to in a live setting. Also, huge shout out to my patrons at the bottom of the screen, because they make this all possible, and they do pop up in the super chat window as well, so you know who you guys are, but they are really the foundation of the channel. If you want to get involved yourselves, you can head over to patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus in order to join up over there. And I do post over there every night any analysis video, all the live streams I upload to there or link to there as well, so you'll never miss a video if you are on Patreon. But thank you for all of your support. It is much appreciated. I'm going to be calling it a night now, but I hope you have a great night or day or morning wherever you are. And please try and stay as safe as possible. Follow your government's guidelines, whatever they're asking that you do. Then it's probably a good idea to self-isolate, wear a mask, do anything that is needed in order to stay safe. And hopefully things will improve in the near future with this whole situation. But I'll see you guys in a day's time, pretty much, on the live analysis, if you can make it for tomorrow night. That's going to be 12 midnight. And if I don't see you there, I'll see you in the comment section of the YouTube videos and just the YouTube channel in general. I'll see you guys over on Patreon if you're over there, because I check the messages every night on there. So thank you for joining me tonight, guys, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!